Welcome back in my little tool table. Today it's time to start continue making a backing plate for this collet chuck. As you can see, I've already installed the guard to help with the chips that are flying around, and I even made a cover to protect the ways, but well, the floor is still littered with chips, and I still get the hot chips on my hands, so I better find some gloves before I continue. In my last video there was a bit of a wobble when drilling this hole, and I thought maybe the workpiece had moved, so I think it might be a good idea to check the front face if it is still running through. Looks like it didn't move, so I can continue safely. Someone suggested I should have taken off a bit of the chrome over here so the jaws would grip the workpiece more easily. Probably a good idea, but I think it will be okay like this. Let's take another cut. As you can see, I'm running the boring bar upside down, which helps with the chip ejection. Unfortunately, my cross slide doesn't have enough travel, so I keep changing the angle on the tool holder. After every cut I need to clear out the chips, because the throat of the chuck fills up. Annoying. I guess before I continue, I need to figure out how big of a hole I should make. I don't want to remove too much material, because then I can start over again. This is the spindle nose of my old lathe, and for this I'm making the backhand plate. The thread on here is metric, and it has a 3.0 millimeter pitch. When measuring the diameter of this thread, it's a bit less than 44 millimeter. Rounding it up to 44 millimeter, I'm assuming this is a M44 thread. And the register seems to be 46 millimeter. On the internet you can find plenty of tables that list the bore size for a female thread. This one is from Maryland Metrics. No idea what they do or make. Strangely enough, none of them list a M44 thread, but there is a 44 ISO thread on here. And when you deduct 1 millimeter, you get this number, and that's close enough. I actually calculated the same result using the calculation for the D minor that is on the Wikipedia page. Now if you look at this table here, here's an enlargement. You can see that 1/4 and 1/8 of the tops and the valleys of the male thread are being cut off. And the thread on my spindle nose is rather sharp like this. So that makes me doubt that my spindle nose thread is actually compliant with the ISO standard. And according to the Wikipedia page, the ISO organization was set up in 1947, and I'm pretty sure my old lathe predates the Second World War. So this number here, -1 millimeter, 40.752, might be slightly off, but I don't think it should matter much. If I bore the hole size a bit over, I can still get a nice fit, because I'm going to use the spindle to test fit while threading. So worst case, the thread might be a little less strong as the tip of the female thread here moves up a bit. And if I bore the hole slightly undersized, it will just take a bit longer to cut the thread. So I'm pretty sure 40.75 millimeter will be close enough. It's more important that I get the register size spot on. So let's get back to the lathe and remove some more material. I took a couple of more cuts and I'm close to the size that I need. It's 40.5. It keeps changing. Well, it's 40.5 something. I also flipped around the insert, and the finish I get now is much better. That's kind of strange, because the other side of the insert was hardly used. .36, so 4/10 of a millimeter to go. I'm taking a spring pass on the way back. Now check this out. 40.7675. Well, that's more than close enough. The next step is cutting the register, but before I do that, I'm going to break out the micrometers and redo my measurements, because I really want to get this spot on. I've bought these two micrometers well over a year ago at a flea market, and so far I never used them, because for my kind of hobby machining I almost never need this level of precision. I think they are pretty old, judging by the boxes in which they came. This here seems to be a homemade box. Who's got the time these days to do that? There's some rust on this outside caliper, and I can no longer read the logo over here. So I have no idea who made this, but maybe someone recognizes the logo. It came with this 25mm Mitutoyo standard, and that measures still exactly 25mm. So it seems to work fine, even though it's a bit scruffy looking. This is definitely not a homemade box, although I do think that this here has been added by someone. Not sure what it's for. This inside micrometer looks a bit better than the other one, but it also has a few beginning rust spots. It was made by Karl Marr in Esslingen, AN, so probably German or Swiss. It's missing one of the locking knobs over here, but that shouldn't be too hard to replace. It might even be usable if I could only figure out how it works, because with this knob you can move this side of the micrometer, and this side moves this one. So without a fixed side, I don't see how I can take a measurement with this. I guess I will need to do some googling. Alright, let's try out the outside micrometer. I've taken a few measurements and I believe I figured it out. The micrometer is set to 45.99, and as you can see it slides over the register at this point, but it won't fit over here. Over there the register is 46mm. Setting it to 46. It's a bit tight still, but there you go. So it looks like there's a bit of a taper on here, probably due to wear over the years. I cannot use the spindle to test fit the register size, because it won't fit till I make some threads, and I cannot test fit the threads till I get the register size correct. If I turn the register too small, it just won't go in far enough to test fit the threads. So I think my best option is to turn a 46mm plug and use that as a test gauge. So I guess that's what I'm going to do next. Whoa! What a mess. Oh, battery's almost empty. I finally managed to make a 46.00mm test gauge. It only took 4 tries. I made a stupid mistake when I misread the micrometer, and I struggled a bit with my tool bits. I had some chatter issues when using carbide inserts, and the HSS tool bit got dull very quickly. I also had some problems with chips welding to the tip of the HSS tool bit. But I got the result that I wanted, and that's what counts. Besides, I got some much needed practice in precision, so hopefully I can cut that register to the correct size in one attempt, because I don't fancy a do-over. It's not that warm currently, and I'm surprised at how much of a difference that makes on the size of this test gauge. It's currently about 45.99, and the temperature is about 10 degrees, and that's maybe 10 degrees less than when I turned this test piece. So I guess I will have to carry this in my pants pocket to keep it at the correct size. Time to cut the register. It needs to be about 19.5 millimeter long, so I put a mark on the boring bar here. Make it too short and it might interfere with the thread. Make it a bit too long, that shouldn't really matter too much. Alright, here we go. I'm going to try and sharpen up the insert, see if that chatter will go away. And a sharp insert helps with taking very light cuts. I learned that when making the 46 millimeter testing gauge. It actually helps. Alright, I'll take a few more cuts and then take a measurement. Let's see how close I am. .45 7 8 7 45 90. Pretty close already. This is one of those gauges that I cut to small. Oh, it doesn't fit, but it's close. Okay, tension rises over here. No mistakes, please. I sharpened up the insert again, and I got a real nice finish here. Well, a very decent finish. The 46.9 gauge goes in. But won't come out. Blast. Yeah. Well, that sucks. I'm not sure about this. It feels like there should be enough room. Come on, let's go. Let me get my hammer. $45.94 is the maximum I get. Great, the air alarm. The Russians are coming. Like every first Monday of the month. This is the 46 gauge. It definitely won't go in. I guess I'll need to take another cut before I start polishing. So I took a very light cut. Sounds like the army is responding to the Russians. I'm not a fan of these snap thingies, but I'll try. $45.9796, no, 97. 300ths of a millimeter to go according to this snap thingy. So I'll take one more very light cut and then I'll probably start using sandpaper. I've done a bit of polishing using 320 grit sandpaper, and it looks and feels pretty nice now. And according to my snap gauge readings, it should be 46 millimeter, plus or minus a bit. My readings sometimes vary. The gauge goes in. Oh, this is the wrong one. This one is 1/10 of a millimeter too small. It goes in rather easy. Here's the correct one. It is starting to go in. But there might be a small taper on here, or even on here. I don't know. That's hard to measure. But remember, there was also a small taper on the spindle register. So it shouldn't be a problem if it is tapered towards the back by 1/100th of a millimeter. I guess I'm going to do some more polishing, remove a little bit more material, and then hope for the best. I polished up the test gauge, and well, as you can see now, it fits. It definitely is a little bit smaller than 46 millimeter. I would say it's 45.99. If it was a hot summer day, it would probably be 46. There is some play, so I definitely think there is a bit of a taper. But I think I'll leave it like this. And the next step will be cutting a 45-degree angle on this ridge here, so it will be a lead-in for the thread cutting. And I'm planning to do that using the compound slide set to 45 degrees.